Not again. And I'm not talking about a loss to the Pistons because that was the first time the Warriors had lost to Detroit since 2023 when Sadiq Bey hit a three at the buzzer. You may remember that game, but not again with the knees. First Jimmy Butler, then Jonathan Kuminga. Tonight, Steph Curry. How serious? And we'll talk about the loss.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, everyone? Welcome into Locked On Warriors. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us the number one sports podcast network out there. We come to you on YouTube and wherever you get your audio podcast. My name is Chuck Walter. Matt Kolsky's the co-host on tonight's show. We're going to talk about a hard-fought game. Warriors got back into it late without Steph Curry, but that's the biggest issue. Steph Curry leaving the game with a nagging knee injury. How serious is it? Are MRIs needed? Dr. Kolsky is in the building. Want to touch up on Draymond. He just had an interesting night, man, from going second row into the courtside seats, spilling someone's beer, to knocking down 4 threes in 10 minutes, to getting teed up, almost ejected. I mean, we had a lot of that. D'Anthony Melton, I thought, shined. Overall, though, Cade Cunningham and the Pistons, there's a reason why they're the best team in the Eastern Conference. What's up, Kolsky? Let's break this thing down. How we doing, man?
Pretty good. I mean, it seems like nothing serious with Steph's knee, so a lot better than we'd be doing if the news was different there.
Steve Kerr saying that probably no MRIs needed, nagging injury, but doesn't expect anything too serious. Honestly, probably a good thing to get him out of a game like this one where you have 6'8" Ron Holland draped all over you, and then when he's not, Asard Thompson is. Look, Amin Thompson was considered like the Steph Curry stopper. Asar is literally his identical twin. They play the exact same way, and I thought Steph had some issues early just getting free. Fortunately, Draymond, Melton, Moody, other guys were able to hit some big shots, but there was a period there where it just felt like whether it was due to the knee or whether it was due to some unreal defense that Curry just, it wasn't his night.
Yeah, this game in a lot of ways is as much as anything just evidence of how disastrous the Jimmy Butler absence is. Because there's just no reason now why a team like Detroit can't send all their best wing defenders at Steph Curry and just beat the hell out of him for as many minutes as he's going to be on the floor.
His numbers are actually good, which is the crazy thing. I mean,
because he's Steph Curry.
I mean, it's wild, man.
He still can do that, but I think this is extremely good evidence that in playoff series, when lots of teams are going to throw big, rangy wing defenders at Steph Curry and try to beat him up, this team isn't good enough for Steph to be able to, even for Steph to carry them to any meaningful playoff basketball. There's just not enough around him to make his job. It's not even make his job easy, but just make his job accomplishable. If tonight was a 50-point explosion, I think it would have been one of those 50-point explosions where they lose the game anyway. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of the vibe of this team right now. Although obviously they put in a heck of an effort after Steph went out. I think we all kind of knew, unless somehow they got ahead by 5 or 7 points, they were not going to close this game because they don't have anybody to close a game out there. I mean, You see what they're trying to do in the last 2 minutes, and you just can't create offense in a clutch situation.
Man,
I
have such a different take than you, though. My issue, it wasn't the offense. They couldn't get a damn stop.
Oh, well, if we're looking at why did they lose this game overall, it's defense and turnovers. The defense,
they gave up 45 in the first. Duncan Robinson was the only Piston who could knock down threes. He had 4 of them in the first 6 minutes. every single bucket that the Pistons had was within 5 feet. It was Cunningham floaters and turnarounds. It was Duren lobs. It was Ron Holland with a couple of lobs. It was backdoor cuts. They shot at 76% in the first quarter. The Pistons had 16 assists and 45 points in that first quarter.
They were 15 for 17 from 2-point range in that first quarter.
Yeah,
it was a
Mike
layup line.
Mike and drill, man.
It was so bad. The defense was atrocious. And by the way, Detroit is not an excellent offensive team. As you just pointed out, they don't have 3-point shooting.
Team, man.
They're great. They're great. But what they do have is big athletes that push the Warriors around and walked right to the front of the rim over and over again.
Do they remind you of Houston at all? Like Houston East? And I only bring that up because of the one, the size and the length, and then two, they literally have a twin brother of a wing that's over there in Houston. Houston,
yeah, they remind you to an extent, but Cade Cunningham is a totally unique.
You know who he is?
Maybe what he is kind of like LeBron, just turned down the athleticism from 95 to 80.
He's Cooper Flag obviously too, but he's one of the future of American hoops. When you think about the Olympics in 4 years or 3 years or something like that, Cade Cunningham's going to be the dude that's kind of leading the show.
Dude. He's the dude.
You can make the argument for Ant and Coop. There are other guys, but
no, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying he's going to be the best American player, but for international basketball, he is going to be critical. He's going to be absolutely critical. But yeah, no, that guy is really something. He has come into his own. He seems to be a tremendous leader for this team because, there's not a lot. I mean, all due respect to Tobias Harris, there's not a lot of veteran leadership on this basketball team.
What do you think of the fouls and the grabbing from? I mean, you saw the slow-mo of Asar Thompson putting his hands all over Curry. Fair or foul?
Water's wet. The sky is blue. What are you going to do? Yes. Does Steph Curry get fouled repeatedly all night long? Yes. Is it going to start getting called now? No. So, listen. I wish we could solve the Steph Curry gets a terrible whistle problem, but I'm not sure Locked On Warriors is capable of that.
Way above our pay grade.
Yeah, I think it is.
Way above our pay grade. I want to get into Draymond Green. I want to get into DeAnthony Melton's play. Some more breakdown of this game. Fortunately, we don't have to spend much time on Curry's injury. Nagging, but not anything too serious. It sounds like that's the report from Steve Kerr himself. So
it could be great timing, Chuck, because they're off until Tuesday. It's a rare 3 off days on the schedule. And, zooming out a little, the All-Star break is coming up. And if he is sore, then you just don't play in the All-Star game. You know what I mean? Like, you can be Steph Curry on the scene and just not play in the All-Star game. So
when is the All-Star game?
Not this coming weekend, but it's like, I believe it's Valentine's weekend.
It's like 2 games after the deadline, right?
Well, the deadline's coming up hot and fast. I believe the deadline is Thursday.
And we're both under the assumption that if Giannis to Golden State does happen, it's going to be over the summer, right?
That's a longer conversation.
They're going to hold off.
Right. So the quickest answer I can give you, I've spent so much time thinking about this the last 2 days.
If you've been stewing on it, let's dedicate a segment to it. How about that?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, Locked On Warriors. We'll continue. We'll talk a little Giannis coming up shortly. Let's recap this game. Warriors fight hard. They lose the Pistons at Chase, 131-124. We'll be right back.
And buddy, stop trying to dribble the ball.
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. Pull up the Game Time app, pick an upcoming NBA event, find your tickets within minutes. You love the all-in price up front. You're going to love the view from the seats. You're going to love everything feeling quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That is Locked On for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. Let's get back to the show.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
It's also a good time to tell you about the NBA trade deadline basically here, and we're going to give you a free month of our new Everydayer Club to help you get ready. If you need a group chat to keep up with the chaos, join ours. The Everydayer Club gets you access to a group chat on Discord for Warriors fans, plus national chats where you can hang out with teams across the league. I'll pop in the Discord from time to time. We can have some fun. You'll also get ad-free versions of the show if you sign up by the trade deadline on February 5th. You can use code DEADLINE to get your first month free. Tap the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, Kolsky. Draymond Green had a pretty interesting game, I would say. All energy, knocked down 4 threes early. What did you think of his overall performance today, where he finished with 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists? And I guess more importantly than that, I mean, he did foul out, 6 fouls. More importantly than that, I think a summer ago, maybe 2 summers ago, I was talking about a Draymond to the Pistons trade for Jalen Duren. And at the time, it seemed a little bit feasible, man. That would have been nice had that have happened. Jalen Duren's super nice, but Draymond had a really good game today.
Yes. That's the kind of stuff they need from him. He's not going to shoot the ball that well, but he's got to be more aggressive. He cannot be afraid on offense, and that's a good sign. 7 rebounds, 7 assists as well. That's it. That is what a good Draymond game looks like, other than fouling out.
You're gonna foul out against that team with beef stew, and
he's in a tough spot. I mean, he's being asked to do a lot.
Jalen Duren's a monster. I mean, he's not Shaq. They don't make him like that anymore, but he's one of the bigger, more athletic, big.
Isaiah Stewart's a monster.
He is.
And Draymond's small. Like, Asar Thompson and Cade Cunningham are bigger than Draymond Green. It's a tough job he's asked to do, and I understand. And nobody can expect him to be, anything more than he's ever been on offense, right? We're not thinking suddenly Draymond is going to step into the void left by Jimmy Butler or anything like that. But he's got to participate. He's got to participate offensively and not turn the ball over the way he has all year long. And tonight was a good night in both of those respects.
DeAnthony Melton had a really good night. Crafty, man. He gets to the rim. He creates for himself. He creates for others. Warriors got themselves a steal. The only unfortunate part of all this is that they didn't lock him up to like a 4-year deal, offer him $8 million a year or something along those lines, because it's going to be tough to keep him.
That would have been a very stupid thing for DeAnthony Melton to do. So it's best for him that he didn't sign a crazy 4-year deal for the minimum. But
this was his contract, the prove it contract that players have all the time. And he had 18 on 7 of 13.
Look, the main thing with him is, can he prove he can stay healthy for more than a month at a time? And that
yet.
Yeah, I don't know if we're even at a month, really, but
he hasn't been hurt yet. I mean, he's had to sit here and there because of management, but I don't think he's even turned an ankle.
He has not been hurt again yet. That is true. Knocking on wood. But you see why they talked about him the way they did. He just, first of all, any team in the league could use DeAnthony Melton. He's a high-level defender. He's really, really long arms so that he can defend bigger than his size. He is a ball handler. He can get to the rim. He's starting to knock down the jumper. He just does everything pretty well. And for a team that has so many different holes to fill over the course of this season, God, he could be valuable for this Warriors team. both as a Band-Aid when they're bleeding out and as an incredible additive piece when they're at full strength. So you'd love to figure out a way to hold on to him. I do think that's going to be extremely difficult. But boy, he works well on this team. He really, really, really does.
Yes, he does. And the nice thing in a hypothetical fantasy world that is picking up some traction, but Giannis, if he were to somehow play in the Bay Area, you look at guys like Guy Santos, who goes for 16 points today, looks good, knocks down a couple threes. You see Melton go for 18 off the bench, and then you see Pods and Moody combine to go 4 of 16 from the floor and once again struggle. And if Pods is one of the dudes in that deal, he's 22. He's got plenty of years to grow, but this window that we keep talking about, like, I think you can slide Melton into that spot. You feel pretty good about Guy Santos to play some minutes. So everyone that says if the Warriors were to trade the farm and land Giannis, who would be playing on the team, who would be left, I don't think that's really an issue. I think you could kind of plug and play the dudes that, Will Richard going for 15, you could up them to 20 and so on forth. I mean, you had 11 guys play today. So I don't think depth is really the issue there. I think it's more so the 5 first-round picks that you would potentially be giving up. And if you didn't win anything with Giannis the next couple of years or whatever it may be, or if he got hurt or anything like that, then it's devastating. But I do think that the best case scenario outweighs I don't know if it outweighs the worst case scenario, to be honest with you, but it's better than purgatory, right?
It costs what it costs to get a player of that level. Like, anyone who is saying like, oh, well, they won't be the favorites if they get Giannis, so why would you even do it? I don't understand why you're watching basketball at all. Like, if you hear the Warriors could potentially get Giannis Antetokounmpo, there's no reasonable argument against it. There just isn't. I mean, I've seen a couple people in the chat already. Well, no, it's not worth giving up the future, but there is no future. Forget the future. Nothing matters in the future if you can put Giannis next to Steph. Maybe they never get any further than a Western Conference Finals. So what? Warrior fans get to watch Steph Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo together for the next couple of 3 years. Could he get hurt and ruin everything? Yeah, but Steph Curry could get hurt tomorrow and ruin everything. You don't stop doing the things that put your team in the best position just because something could go wrong.
No, so draft picks could suck,
those draft picks not could, Chuck. More than likely they will. Most draft picks suck, relatively speaking. And as far as draft picks becoming Giannis, that happens once a generation. So forget all that. What's the questions at hand here to me are what can the Warriors offer relative to other teams? What do the Bucks want to do? And what does Giannis want? The reason all those things matter, I mean, the first two I think are relatively obvious, but the reason what Giannis wants matters is because he can become a free agent after next season. And any team, now we can say, hey, he could get hurt. Is it worth giving up 5 draft picks? That, I think, is a silly argument. He can leave after next year. Is it worth giving up 5 draft picks? Is a very valid argument. So any team that's going to give up the haul that it's going to take to get Giannis is going to do so with the understanding that he's extending. So if Giannis says, I'm only extending with X, Y, and Z, well, those are the teams that now are in the market for Giannis because nobody is going to do it if he does not specifically indicate he'd be willing to re-sign. So after a lot of thought and consideration and listening to a lot of different opinions on this, what I would say is if for some reason, and the only reason I can really think of is Giannis demanding it, but if for some reason the Bucks feel compelled to move him now in the next 5 days or whatever it is before the deadline. And again, he hasn't really played it right to make that happen, because we saw how you make that happen. It's what Jimmy Butler did last year. And Giannis does not want to be that guy. Okay. So it's probably not what I would do if I were the Bucks. But if for some reason that happens, I think the Warriors are far and away the leader in the clubhouse. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't think there's much reason for the Bucks to do that. Other than, will Giannis make a mess of things the rest of the way, which doesn't seem like he's going to do or has threatened to do. In the offseason, you will know specifically what picks people are getting, instead of just looking at which teams are bad and who you think might get a good pick and crossing your fingers for the lottery, right? You can wait until the picks are established and you know what you're trading for. Also, some of the other teams like the Knicks or even the Lakers, for that matter, that really couldn't be involved now because they don't have the draft picks, they get access to some extra ones in the future when the league year ends. So my instinct would be, overall, they will get better offers in the summer if they wait to make the deal. And if I was them, that's what I would do. And if that is what happens, there will almost certainly be better young players available to them and likely better draft pick packages available to them than the Warriors, which means the Dubs' access to winning this lottery goes way down. Because here's the problem. Right now, the teams that actually could put together the best offers essentially are the Houston Rockets, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
And they don't want him.
Well, all of those teams believe they can win a title without him. But at least one of those teams won't even make it to the Western Conference Finals this year. One of those teams might get upset in the first round. And if I'm the Spurs or the Rockets especially, and I'm thinking, if I'm the Spurs and I'm like, man, we just beat Oklahoma City twice. What do I need Giannis for? We're just going to do this thing ourselves. And then we get upset in the first round by the Phoenix Suns. All of a sudden, that Giannis idea is starting to sound a lot more appealing, right? If the Houston Rockets go on a surge and finish the season as the 2 seed and go in the playoffs hot and then get bounced in the first round, all of a sudden, maybe we will put Jabari Smith and Reed Shepherd and 2 first-rounders on the table. So that's the problem, is that if any of these really big asset teams step up to the plate, which they're not now, but likely one of them will in the summer, that makes it really tough for the Warriors to get this done. But I gotta say, given what they've been through and where they're at in the life cycle of the team, the fact that they're just a major part of the conversation is pretty much a win.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is no doubt about it wild. We'll say this when it comes to Giannis. He would definitely help that back line where Detroit was getting everything pretty easy with the rim today. I think Giannis sitting back there would be extremely helpful. And I think what you're alluding to, Kolsky, is that he needs to cause a stink, right? The sooner,
yes,
the sooner he demands a trade, the more likely it is that, because I agree. I hadn't really thought about that, but it is a good analysis piece there that a team like San Antonio, let's say, where if things don't go their way in the playoffs and they don't appear to be as close as they thought, Dylan Harper then becomes very expendable.
Or maybe it's even Stephon Castle that ends up on the table because they have Dylan Harper. And that's the problem is if God forbid Houston makes Amen Thompson available.
Odds.
He is from Milwaukee.
Yes,
and listen,
so is Jimmy, or not,
and the Bucks reportedly like Kuminga as like an upside swing, and you've certainly got a more controllable contract there.
But dude, none of the contracts make sense for Milwaukee. I was talking about it with a coworker today who's from the Wisconsin area, and he's a huge Bucks fan, and he was like, "Why would we want a bunch of Warriors that are basically on the same exact deal, and they're all expiring after next year.
Because the Bucks are headed for hell, and expiring deals are valuable when you're a team in hell.
They are, but if you like a player like Kuminga and you like a player like Pajemski, then you don't really want to pay them, right? You want to have them already on team-friendly deals.
I mean, you'd like anybody on a team-friendly deal, but very few of the people. Well, like I said,
would be on a team-friendly deal.
Like
for a
I
couple
said,
years, right?
if Houston or San Antonio get involved, it's going to be very tough for the Warriors to get this done. But if you're just looking like at the Warriors offer itself and our Pods and Kuminga appealing upside swings with guys who you at least control for a year or two, and then can decide whether you want to pay to hold on to them, they're intriguing. They're better than anything that I don't know, the Knicks have to offer, if you ask me. But what good does Karl Anthony Towns do the Bucks? They don't want to be a play-in team in the East starring Karl Anthony Towns, right?
No, he's not going to get them to a play-in team.
And in a way, well, in the East he would, but in a way, Jimmy Butler injured is an appealing thing for them because they want to lose. Like if you're trading Giannis midseason, certainly you're doing it. Yeah, you're doing it. They end up with the worst draft pick of theirs and New Orleans's, right? And New Orleans is looking like they're going to be the worst team in the league. So if the Bucks know what's good for them, they want to be the second worst team in the league.
I think New Orleans has started to look a little bit better. I don't know about you. I've watched the last week, and I'm like, New Orleans has a little bit of spice to them.
Oh, yeah?
Am I wrong saying that? Have they not been playing better basketball?
I wouldn't say they've been playing better basketball. There is some spice to them, but a lot of that spice doesn't play very much, and the team is just kind of a mess. They have the worst record, certainly in the West. They're bad, man. It's going to be a high draft pick, and this is supposed to be the best draft in years, which is really saying something. So the Bucks are in tank mode. I don't think there's any question. There's no hope of them doing anything this season. So, the Jimmy Butler as a cap hold, basically, and then by the time he comes back next year, he's an expiring contract that you can put on the trade market. That could be exactly what the Bucks want. If they just want to rebuild entirely, you'll get a few draft picks from the Warriors, get a few more trading Jimmy Butler on to the next team that wants somebody. Again, there are reasons to like the Warriors package. I do think it is the best one available to the Bucks today and for the next 5 or 7 days, whatever it is. But the summer will make it a lot more complicated. They're in it, but if it goes to the summer, it's a lot harder for them to win.
Is my microphone working?
Yeah.
No echo, no nothing? When I was doing the whole 0-82, like lose, baby. I think I've unpulled a plug or something. So
you sound good now.
Chad, help me out if I sound terrible. We got an ad read. Let's get into what's ahead for the Warriors. We'll tie a ribbon on this loss to the Pistons and how we turn things around. Less than a week away from the deadline. It's coming, Kolsky. It's coming. This is Locked On Dubs.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, building one last same-game parlay, guessing whether the Gatorade's orange, what the first song's going to be at halftime, it's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from the kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5, get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, that's it. The season's done. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
Yeah, so going back to, I don't know how it was brought up. The Pistons are 13-37. So you're right. They're not spicy by any means.
The Pelicans, to be clear. Yeah.
Excuse me, the Pelicans. The Pistons are probably the antithesis of that. They're probably like 41-10. Speaking of antithesis, that Pistons team is built entirely different than the Warriors. I mean, you think about what the Warriors are trying to do in terms of, I mean, I guess they're similar in terms of passing and sharing the basketball and the ball having energy, but the Warriors want to take a lot of threes. The Pistons do not, man. I mean, how many did they even take tonight in the game? They took 26 compared to the Warriors 52. 26 threes, 10 of them from Duncan Robinson, and 4 from Cade Cunningham, a couple from Tobias Harris. And then aside from that, it's just Warriors will leave guys with 15 feet. So Ron Holland's like, I'll chuck one up. Why not? I'll have some fun. It's not going to go in, but I'll chuck it up. But they've built this team, Bickerstaff and company, off toughness, off, their leader, Cade Cunningham. And it's going to be interesting when, Curry does decide to call it quits, how the Warriors are going to change things up. This isn't college basketball where Syracuse is still running the 2-3 because of Boeheim. I don't know if they're still running the 2-3, to be honest with you. But you have an idea
there anymore,
right? My team, Cincinnati, they haven't been able to score over 50 points in like 30 years. That's their identity. You wonder if the Warriors are going to try to build it the same way, or if it just because the Pistons have always built it the same way, right? Every good team they have kind of looks like this. Yeah,
it is an attitude about Detroit basketball. There's no question about that. You got me thinking about University of Cincinnati now. Like their personality, their personality remains Mick Cronin is what I hear you saying.
I want to hear the chat's opinion on Mick Cronin. What a fiery guy.
Oh man, listen, that's why I say there's no future. You can't think about the future right now because it's Steph, but we don't even know if Steve Kerr is going to be here next year. He's certainly not going to be here when Steph Curry's gone. So I think you're building the whole program from the ground up at that point. And that's going to be hard no matter how you do it, which is why I'm firing every last bullet I've got right now. For me, it's a no-brainer.
If it's not Giannis, what's that bullet? Trey Murphy's like 2 of his last 36, by the way. He's really struggled.
Right. Like, I think the name Trey Murphy has been said so many times that people have gotten confused about what he is.
No, he's really good. He's not available, first of all.
Well, he may or may not be available. You can't trust anything the Pelicans say, but he may not be available. That's true. He also, he's a really good 3-point shooter and overall a good scorer, but he's not like a lead star in any stretch of the imagination. He's not a top 2 player on a contending team. He's not any of those things. He's not a building block for your franchise. He would be a really high level complementary piece for your franchise. And, maybe he ends up being like
Wiggins.
I was going to say a better 3-point shooting version of Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, but he's not as good a defender as Wiggins. He's not as good an athlete as Wiggins. He doesn't move as well as Wiggins. He would have been a phenomenal, as someone in the chat just said, if Jimmy was still here and you could have flipped Kuminga for Trey Murphy, he's a winning piece to add to a championship contender in theory. He's not the guy you move heaven and earth for to be the future of the franchise. That guy is not out there. That guy's almost never available via trade, and he's not out there now. But there is a guy who plays at an MVP level who's out there right now. So you go get him if you can. There's just, it is what it is.
Okay, Kolsky. I'm my break is starting here soon. I got VJ Edgecombe, so we obviously got to tease the next game. VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid's having a really good season. The Philadelphia 76ers, they're 26-21. They'll be taking on the 27-23 Golden State Warriors. That game is on February 3rd, and it is the last game before the trade deadline. I believe, do they have the Lakers right after? Let me double check that. So they have Phoenix on the 5th. 2 more games before the Warriors have to make a decision in terms of whether they bring someone in or whether they ride this thing out. We have both come to the conclusion based on 6 games without Jimmy Butler that this team's not good enough. They're 2-4 in those 6 games. They're treading water.
Yeah,
at
man.
this point. They have to do something or it's kind of a lost season. You have 2 games to figure it out. It's Philadelphia. It's Phoenix. I don't think wins or losses necessarily are going to change Mike Dunleavy's strategy on what he does. I think it's, I think they're pretty into this Giannis situation right now. And I think that if he's not available now, they probably will wait until the summer.
I think that's right. And I think that's the right decision. And God forgive me, but there was a moment tonight where I started thinking about whether it might be worth heading the other direction for the season. There was a moment tonight when I thought, would it be the worst thing if knee soreness kept Steph Curry out of the next 40 games? I said, I'm sorry, forgive me, but the 10th pick would be better than what they're headed for right now if they're still trying to trade for Giannis in the offseason, wouldn't it?
It's a loaded draft.
I mean, I'm just saying. I do not want Steph Curry to get hurt. Let me be very clear. But the Warriors tanking the rest of the way, given how the prospects for this season look right now, would not be the worst thing in the world.
All right. Hopefully in this sapphire box, someone pulls a VJ Edgecombe. Kolsky! Good stuff, man. Good stuff,
Let's
man.
go, VJ. Come on, VJ.
Not on the 3rd of February. No VJ then, but I wouldn't mind seeing a little sapphire VJ Edgecombe rookie today. You'll see that thing up on eBay in 5 minutes, by the way.
Chuck's just trying to make cash off cards, everybody. Just keep up with Chuck's card game.
I'm a hobbyist, Kolsky. I'm a hobbyist. This
He's
is
a
Locked On
hobbyist.
Warriors. I am. This
Chuck's
is
a
Locked On
hobbyist.
Warriors. Kolsky, have a great night. Everyone in the chat, love you guys. Peace.